So we know that the world that our students, the world, the young people that we have in our classrooms today, their world is going to be changing. It is going to be different. It is going to be highly technological. There is going to be so much more AI embedded. The world our students are entering is changing, and it is changing every second of every day. So I just want to set that scene to start with. I want you to be thinking about the future and how every day, every moment, every hour, everything, things are changing. All right. It's changing so rapidly that sometimes it feels like it's hard to keep up. And this is why we need to keep this particular idea up here in our brain holes so that we are ready to prepare our students for a fantastic future. So let's dive in and break this down a little bit more, because it's really important to understand why and what's happening and what we need to consider to ensure that our students are prepared for that world that they are going to be entering when they leave the formal education schooling settings and they move off into doing whatever they're going to do. So the world our students are entering is changing faster than ever before. We know that. We see that every day. We see some kind of new technology coming out. We see AI advancing. We see that changing. So we know as educators and humans that technology is transforming how we live, learn, and work. All right. You won't go anywhere. Right here, I have my mobile phone. I am delivering to you a webinar live streamed on Facebook and YouTube. I have my tablets. I have my camera. I have my microphone. I have all of these different technological items. We have those, but we also know that we have access to technology in a myriad of other different ways. When you go to the supermarket, when you go to the hardware shop, when you even go to McDonald's, technology is being used in every component of our lives now. It is very difficult to escape that technology and start to explore and start to recognize that it is transforming our lives. Sometimes there are consequences to this, but most of the time, this technological transformation is there for a purpose, and it's there to make our lives easier. We also know that artificial intelligence and automation are reshaping industries and careers. So we know that some of those jobs that we might have had when we were younger are starting to change or disappear because of AI and automation and all of these new technologies that are being developed and embedded. So it is reshaping that employment landscape that our young people are going to be moving into. We also know that many of the jobs that our students are going to have in the future probably don't even exist yet. So even though we know that AI and automation is reshaping industries and careers, those jobs that we are hopefully losing from that technological advancement are going to be replaced with brand new jobs, brand new industries, brand new careers and roles that we haven't even thought of yet. All right. We haven't even identified what these are going to be, how these are going to be part of our world. But we know that those jobs that our young people are going to access in the future are going to be different to the jobs that you and I had as teenagers, adults, and now as we might be a little bit more mature. We also know that information is now instantly accessible. So we know that, all right? But we need to make sure that our students, the young peoples that we teach in our classes, we need to make sure that they know how to evaluate and use that particular information effectively. And it was really interesting that I was talking to my year 11 English studies class recently about just the changes in the world and how technology and how information is now so readily accessible. And I was talking about when I was in year 9 and year 10 and year 11, and we didn't have mobile phones that were internet enabled. We had to pay 25 cents for 150 characters on our mobile phones. It was all prepaid. We had a computer lab with the big IBM type computers with the giant monitors. So I was trying to get my students to really understand the differences between 20, 21 years ago when I was in high school to today, and how the access of information has changed. We also know that in the future, success will rely on skills such as critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and adaptability. So a lot of these skills we always talk about. You always hear people within the teaching profession, within whatever sphere that you might be involved with. These particular skills are skills that are transferable, that we are always going to need. We're always going to need to be able to think critically. We're always going to need to be able to collaborate. Creativity is something that is going to make the world fantastic, because that creativity and what you can do and what you can create is what makes the world so interesting and dynamic. And we know that that adaptability is going to be so important as our students move into their future, because we don't know what the future is going to look like. That's why it's called the future. But we know that if our students are going to be able to be successful, be informed citizens who are active, they are going to need to be able to adapt to some of those changes, especially if they're quite rapid and forced and unexpected in a way. So from this, it is so important that schools and educators like you and I move beyond this basic understanding of simply delivering knowledge. Knowledge is important, yes, but we can also gain knowledge so much more easily and readily today, thanks to AI, thanks to the internet, thanks to all of that technology. So we can jump on and we can learn something really quickly. All right. So we know that. But what we need to do, what we need to focus on, is we need to help our students develop the skills that they will need to thrive in a vastly different, ever changing world. All right. We need to make sure that these skills are embedded, that they are so clear and firm that they basically roll off the tongue when, every time our young people go out into the world and do something, they know how these skills have relevance and how these skills are going to connect to their future. So we need to move beyond knowledge. We're not saying that knowledge is not important, but we need to move beyond just focusing on delivering content to now developing skills.